Well, hello, friends and kin. I'm coming to you for Sundee Service. Uh, Welcome to November 9th, 2025, as we continue our reading of Anam Cara. Um, my setup's a little bit different for you today. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get out to the cemetery until after dark, so I've already done my offerings, and I'm going to conclude with my reading sitting in my car where I actually have light to read by. So I do hope all of you are well. All through Celtic poetry, you find the color, power, and intensity of nature. How beautiful it recognizes the wind, the flowers, the breaking of the waves on the Celtic land. Celtic spirituality hallows the moon and adores the life force of the sun. Many of the ancient Celtic gods were close to the sources of fertility and belonging. Since the Celts were a nature people, the world of nature was both a presence and a companion. Nature nourished them. It was here they felt their deepest belonging and affinity. Celtic nature poetries fused with this warmth, wonder, and belonging. One of the oldest Celtic prayers is a prayer called St. Patrick's Breastplate. Its deeper name is the Deer's Cry. There is no separation between subjectivity and the elements. Indeed, it is the very elemental forces that inform and elevate subjectivity. I arise today through the strength of heaven and light of sun, radiance of moon, splendor of fire, speed of lightning, swiftness of wind, depth of sea, stability of earth, firmness of rock. The Celtic world is full of immediacy and belonging. The Celtic mind adored the light. This is one of the reasons why Celtic spirituality is emerging as a new constellation in our times. We are lonely and lost in our hungry transparency. We desperately need a new and gentle light where the soul can shelter and reveal its ancient belonging. We need a light that has retained its kinship with the darkness, for we are sons and daughters of the darkness and of the light. Man, that's a beautiful and powerful idea. And it kind of makes me think as I sit here in this holy place of transitions, this cemetery. And this time of year, the dark comes so much more early, and it's kind of interesting. The last couple of times I've been out here to visit and commune, and even the last time I did Sundee Service, it was dark by the time I got here. And I'm starting to think that in this time of year, like after the autumn equinox, between autumn and spring equinox, maybe I'll start waiting until after dark to come out here, or at least twilight, to come out here and do my service. Probably need to invest in a book lamp. And maybe that's another way I'll start to kind of alter my observances and my practices to kind of stay in tune with the time of year. But I think we forget that we're children of light and darkness both, and that we're also children of the land on which we tread. Now here's something interesting to cook your noodle on. As a Euro-descended person living in America, my sense of belonging to the land on which I tread is fraught with all sorts of complicated subject matter. And I know a lot of people of European descent struggle with that too. When you start walking an earth-centered spirituality with a respect for the evolution and development for indigenous belief systems and indigenous practices, you kind of can't help but look back on our history with this land and with a sense of disapproval for the way many of our ancestors came to live here. And, I can't give you an answer to that problem that resolves everything and makes everything better. But there's a few hard realities I've had to come to terms with over the course of my life. And, it's not black and white. Now, some of the events that transpired, many of them pretty close to black and white. The way in which indigenous peoples were treated was horrific and nothing short of evil in most 99% of the circumstances. And there's nothing that can be done at this juncture to go back and change that. That's the thing about the past. It can't be undone, can't be rearranged, no matter how much we'd like to. And I've wrestled with these thoughts and feelings for a long time. How do I come to terms with my ancestors that played a role in some of the horrific things that happened? The good news is that's out of my hands. Any punishment or for lack of a better term, karmic repercussions are not up to me. They're up to old Mother Fate. They're up to the land. Powers far greater and wiser than myself. Now, how does that affect me? The land, if you recall back to one of my previous Sundee services, I talked about the land and death and why I revere them in the way that I do, and that's because they are the great equalizers. The land is going to do what it does regardless of what we do. We make changes that affect it, it's going to change in kind and do things that affect us. And at the end of all of our lives, death is going to take all of us, regardless of what we've done or haven't done. And the land will take our remains back into itself and repurpose that organic matter. Again, regardless of who we are, what we've done, what our ethnic or genetic background is. And running with that idea, the land gets to decide. The land determines our sense of belonging. That's the way I look at it. If you treat the land with respect and you treat the land with a sense of reverence, the land will embrace you as her child. Now, the specifics behind how that's done, that's between you and the land herself. That's a relationship that you have to work at, that you have to foster, that you have to cultivate. And I may be overly optimistic in this perspective, but I'd like to think that when my ancestors passed, even the ones that did some of the most horrible things were instructed upon their demise. And perhaps some, seeing the error of their ways, try to influence later generations to do better than they did. Again, maybe that's overly optimistic of me, but that's why in many of my addresses to the ancestors and the way I talk to them, I tell them, look, I'm more than happy to carry on your virtues and the wisdom you acquired, but I will not carry on your vices or vendettas. So any malice you carry with you, any prejudices, any bigotries, any of the worst qualities of humanity, they are not welcome to be carried on with my life force. And hopefully that attracts the ones that want to make a positive difference to work with me, work through me, and the rest is up to fate. I know this is a complicated topic, and it's a loaded topic in most conversations. But I do believe that if you treat the land with a sense of reverence and respect and love, you will receive the same in turn. Because the land, whether you're good or evil, white, black, any color of the rainbow, no matter who you marry, who you sleep with. The land is going to take you back when you're done. She is indiscriminate in that sense. What are your thoughts on that? Specifically calling out Euro-descended people living in America. How do you make peace with the soil beneath your feet in spite of our history here? And this isn't an attempt to guilt trip anybody or to, perpetuate any sense of hate toward our ancestors or ourselves, but in the spirit of making peace with the land beneath us, how does that manifest in your spiritual path, and how do you work with that? With me, that's part of why I do what I do. I do this Sunday service. I give offerings. I give prayers. That's my way, and even my observation of the wheel of the year. All of that is me interacting with the land and showing it respect and love. And hopefully, the land hears me. What are your thoughts? Until next time, friends and kin, have a wonderful week. It's always good to see you.